Hello everyone and welcome to Masterclass Excel. I'm Tom. If you're opening Excel for the first time today, you're in the right place. Before we dive into complex formulas or data tables or advanced charts, you'll need to feel completely at home moving around the workspace. When you first look at Excel, it can feel like a massive wall of tiny boxes and confusing buttons, but once you understand the layout, everything clicks into place. By the end of this lesson, you'll know how to navigate smoothly across rows, columns, and individual cells. You'll know how to create, rename, and manage multiple worksheets inside a single workbook. You'll know how to tour the ribbon tabs to find any tool that you need instantly. And you'll learn how to customize your workspace using the Quick Access Toolbar. When you open up a new workbook in Excel, you're looking at a giant grid. Running vertically, we have columns labeled A, B, C, and so on through the alphabet, and then it repeats. Running horizontally, we've got rows. Row 1, row 2, row 3, and so on. The intersection of a column and a row is called a cell. Every single cell has an address. For example, if we click the cell in column C on row 5, this is cell C5. That is that cell's address. You can always verify your location by looking at the name box in the upper left corner of your screen. You can see it tells us here C5 is the cell we currently have selected. If I change it over here, it tells us now E7 is the selected cell. Whenever you type text or numbers into a cell, that information will also appear in the formula bar up at the top. So if I type the word dog, you can see it's also showing the word dog up in the formula bar. Understanding these basic coordinates is your compass for navigating any spreadsheet. Now, an Excel workbook is like a multi-page notebook. Just as you wouldn't keep an entire year of finances on a single piece of paper, you shouldn't cram everything onto one sheet in Excel. In the bottom left corner of your screen, you'll see your sheet tabs. By default, you start with Sheet 1. If we click the plus icon next to Sheet 1, we can add as many sheets as we wish. Now Excel defaults to renaming these sheet with a number at the end of it, but you can double click into any sheet and rename it, such as January budget. This helps keep your tabs much more organized. We can even right click on the tab, pick tab color, and change the color of the tab. Right click, pick a color, and there we go. Now let's take a look up at the ribbon of Excel, which is this set of tabs across the top of the window. Each of these tabs is designed for a specific phase of your work, so let's take a quick tour. The Home tab is your home base. This is where Excel defaults to whenever you open a new file. It contains the tools that you'll use 90% of the time, including things like font formatting, text alignment, number formatting, other styles, and basic editing. The Insert tab is used whenever you want to add something new to your workbook, such as an official table, or a picture, or a chart. You'll go to the Insert tab to add those things to your spreadsheet. The next tab over is the Page Layout. This controls how your spreadsheet will look if it's printed or if it's prepared for an export of some sort. The Formulas tab is your library for advanced mathematical, logical, and text functions. The Data tab is where you'll go to manage external data connections. You can handle any sorting and filtering, and other tools such as data validation, text to columns, and so on. The Review tab is used primarily for spell check, adding comments, and protecting your worksheets with passwords. The View tab controls how you'll look at your screen. It lets you do things like zoom in. Freeze panes, or toggle the grid lines on and off. You may have seen every one of these tabs is broken out into groups of actions. Each of these groups has a little expand arrow at the bottom right, so if I click on that expand button for the font group, I get a pop-up with many more options related to font formatting. Now before we wrap up, let's take a look at one of my favorite features of Excel, and that is the Quick Access Toolbar. That is this section up at the top left of the screen. Your Quick Access Toolbar may look much different from mine, as I've added things that are commonly used by myself, but this is a very handy feature. On the right side of the Quick Access Toolbar, just to the left of the name of your workbook, there's a down arrow. If you click that, you'll see it's already showing us some of the functions that are already pinned to the taskbar, such as save, undo, redo. If you click more commands here near the bottom, it'll give you a window that defaults to the most popular commands, and this is where you'll go to add or remove items from your Quick Access Toolbar. For example, if I find I'm often inserting a table into my worksheets, I can select Insert Table, click the Add button here, and we'll click OK, and then watch what happens in the Quick Access Toolbar. It has added a button for adding a table. So now whenever I want to insert a table, I do not need to drill down to the data section and add a table. All I have to do is click on the table button here, and it instantly brings up my dialog box for adding a table. So instead of having to drill down to a bunch of different groups and finding the item that you want that you use often, you can simply go to the Quick Access Toolbar and add those functions right at the top so you can have them in one quick click. If you want to remove an item from the Quick Access Toolbar, you can simply hover over the button, right-click it, and click Remove from Quick Access Toolbar. Well, congratulations! You've successfully completed your first foundational tour of Microsoft Excel. You now know how the grid is structured, how to manage multiple sheets like a pro, and where to find every tool you'll need right there on the ribbon. You've built a solid foundation. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson when we start really diving into the capabilities of Microsoft Excel. See you then.